Testing 1, 2, 3. Are we live? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, looks like we are live. Taurus Trades, good morning. All right, I just got back to my desk from bringing my daughter to school. So let's see what's going on here. I was a little lucky this morning. I actually was able to take a couple trades before I had to leave off the news, the unemployment news. So I already got 2 winners in the bag for the day. Let's see here. The hourly is looking bearish. The 15-minute looks like it's about to turn bearish. However, the confirmation line is relatively flat, so that's actually more of a ranging condition. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep the 15 at neutral for now, because we could tick up from the bottom here and we could start heading back up. For the 5-minute, it looks like confirmation line starting to head down, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that one at bearish. On the 1-minute, it looks like we are still ranging in a ranging condition. Yeah, pre-market is... I tend to like pre-market more than New York kicks in. It can turn into a rat's nest really quick. Pre-market tends to be a little bit smoother. And yeah, those 2 trades I took earlier today, I basically identified that we were in a ranging condition. This confirmation line was, relatively flat along the center. And so when that news came out, I jumped in from this lower high, tick down from the upper power zone, and I rode that to the lower power zone, and I flipped long there, because typically those news moves, they're not sustained. It's usually more of an impulsive move, and it likes to snap back. So I flipped long there, but then I had to leave to go take my daughter to school, so I set my TP at the bottom of this fair value gap, which is also this pivot line right here. And I just I nailed the top of that wick there. I don't know if you can see that right there. So, and then I took her to school, so I've been gone throughout all of this. But now it looks like we are starting to head back down again. So we'll see if it keeps ranging. We're still, this confirmation line is still relatively flat. So I'm going to assume that we're ranging until it proves that we're not. However, the fact that we broke down from this other low over here, this could turn into more of a sustained move, so we'll have to watch for that. And these deltas are getting really big and fat again. So this 5-minute tick down underneath the delta, that might end up playing out into a bigger move. Just have to keep an eye on it. JWaz is in the house. Good morning. So your username on YouTube, of Earths. What is... I was expecting your username to be JWaz, but you have a different identity on YouTube. Playing hard to get over there, huh? So Zeiierman sent me a note. He said, you know, you should be streaming on the shorts too. He said those usually get more views. I'm not really sure how to do that. I don't know if that's you know, I'm kind of new to the streaming thing, so I'll have to try to figure that out. I don't know if you can do that in the streaming software that I'm using. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'll have to figure it out later. So yeah, I was late to my desk here. I missed the open, but if we just kind of go back and look at this and say, okay, if we were here, what would we have done? We already identified that ranging market condition. I got those 2 trades in earlier, which is nice. But if we were actually here to play these, we would have went long here. We might have taken profit here. It didn't quite reach that upper power zone, but you might have started trailing wicks at that point and took profit there. But then we're back here in this power zone, so you would have went long here and either taken profit there, but again, it never really reached that upper power zone. So if you were trailing and waited for that upper power zone, that would have got you up there. So here would have been another 9 points, there another 22.5 points. But this one, since it reached the top, you would have shorted that one. You would have flipped right there. And then caught this whole move here. So we still haven't ticked up yet. Looks like we might be coming down to hit this pivot line down here. We are ticking up right now. But the question is, are we still in this ranging condition, or are we in more of a sustained move now? We actually ended up ticking up right there. But this one would have been, you know, about 70 points, somewhere in there. So that would have been pretty nice. Now, this delta, it's so far down here, and it finally has some momentum to it. So I'm assuming we're probably not ranging at this point, since this is such a strong move here. You know, it's similar to the news one, but news kind of loses its steam really quick. This is right after the open. Well, it might do the same thing, I suppose. I'll go ahead and throw a limit order on where that entry would have been. Which is right here. Oh yeah. It's nice to see the market moving again. The last few streams were really frustrating with the choppy market conditions. We We probably ended up missing that move because I was talking too much. But it's kind of nice to see all these moves actually playing out the way that they're supposed to now. Yeah, this would have been another nice one. But I think it's safe to say we missed that one. But yeah, that'd be over 30 points right there. Go ahead and cancel my order. We'll go ahead and remove these since we didn't take those. I didn't even check to see if there's any other news today. Let's check that out. Crude oil inventories today at 10. So that's in an hour. Fed Chair Powell speaks today at 2. It says high, but usually when they say that they're just speaking, that's usually doesn't impact the market a whole lot. I mean, unless it's like the actual FOMC, you know, Powell at the podium event, that's a little different. And then tomorrow, retail sales at 7:30. That's about it. Yeah, when the market is in this ranging condition like this, I actually love it because these moves are so nice and predictable. Different from choppy markets. I don't like the chop when it's just flat. I can't make any money if the price isn't moving. Check out the 15-minute. Yeah, if you look at the 15, this confirmation line, see how it's just pretty flat down the center. We're starting to get a little bit more movement in it now. But again, even on the 15, these power zones, see how they play out? Let's check out the 5. The 5 looks like it might want to go into more of a sustained move here. We'll see. Let's check out the hourly. Yeah, this is if you look at the hourly and you see this thin spotty delta over the last, you know, several days, all of this, that is not fun trading. That's all chop right there. All of this is chop. Go back to the 1. Still kind of sitting in between those two pivot lines there. So it might want to go down and tap that bottom pivot. Our ATR is sitting above 70. Well, in my case, that's 4 times ATR. One day I just started using 4 times ATR more for like I was using that as a take profit number. So, so like right now, that's 70 ticks basically. Well, that ticks. Where's that points? I guess I forgot. But what I would do is I would take that number and I would set my take profit to be that many ticks. So in this case, if I was going to go long or short here, I would take profit at 70 ticks. And I would also use that to, and actually what I use it more so for these days is to determine whether or not the market is too volatile or not volatile enough to trade. So like if that number starts getting below 25, I typically stay out of the market because there's just not enough movement in the market to make any money. But if that number is above 25 and like right now 70, you can make really good money when it's around 30 to 70, I'd say. If it gets above 70, like, or above 100, then you really got to size down because each candle is just so big that usually I use like an 80 tick stop, and that 80 tick stop, if it's over 100, that doesn't even cover one candle. So it's too small when it gets that big. Starting to see a little chop signal here on the delta. I always forget to post the stream in the group. I should probably do that, so people know that we're live here. Hey, Jwaz, did you see that song that I sent you? The Fat Delta song? You should... Maybe I should play it right now. Hold on. I'll play it when it's a good time. Do we see a move coming up here? I don't know. It still looks kind of choppy, so... I don't know. This might make a little move down here. You just put in a lower high on the signal. But the delta's really... It's really thin and spotty right now, so it's kind of risky. I'm going to try to stay out of those today. So I'm going to pass on that one. But let me see if I can play that AI song. I don't even know if that'll come through on here. Let me see. Tell me if you guys can hear this. Can you hear anything? Oh no? Hold on a second. Hold on. Can you hear anything now?
You know who understands those skinny signals anyway? I like big fat deltas and I cannot lie. What the traders can't deny when I candle pop stick with the solid green wick.
Is it loud enough? Or is it quiet?
Yeah, watching that pace, hoping sellers just lost that race. Wanna sit back too late, Jack Delta's moving. That's no hack, no slim lines, no fake traps. This market's got the juice, no gap. Oh traders, are you tired of market faders? Hell yeah, and check it, watch this track. Big fat delta's got your back. I'm trading with volume popping, see that market flow ain't stopping. All those skinny bars just ain't for me. I need fat green candles, I can see. I want them thick, tall and hefty, nothing less or I get testy. If it's skinny and too risky, give me fat delta's crispy. You like fat moves, you're in the groove. Then shall we trade it? Go on and throw it. Big deltas bring the game, skinny lines are just too tame. I like big fat deltas and I cannot lie. When the volume surges high, I'm on my chart, ready to act. Skinny moves, nah, stay stacked. I like big fat deltas and I cannot lie. When the volume surges high, I'm on my chart, ready to act. Skinny moves, nah, stay stacked. Oh traders, hell, oh traders, hell, oh traders, yeah, oh traders, 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 yeah, oh traders, stack, oh traders, oh traders, oh traders, yeah, oh traders, 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 yeah, oh traders, stack, oh traders, yeah, oh traders, stack, oh traders, yeah. Oh traders, they got traders. Oh traders, oh traders, oh traders, oh traders, oh traders, oh trader wigs. Got your back on traders. You like that moves? Oh yeah. You're in the groove. Know it, then show it, trade it, go on and throw it. Big deltas bring the game. Skinny lines are just too tame. You like that moves? Oh yeah. You're in the groove. You know it, then show it, trade it, go on and throw it. Big deltas bring the game. Skinny lines are just too tame. Traders, yeah. Oh traders. Fat moves, oh yeah, you're in the groove, you know it, then show it, trade it, go on and throw it. Big deltas bring the game, skinny lines are just too tame. I like big fat deltas and I cannot lie. When
I thought it was over.
Surges high, I'm on my chart, ready to act. Skinny moves, nah, stay stacked.
That song took literally like 5 seconds to make.
It's just so thick. It's like one of those.
Hold on a second. I just typed in, I said, write me a song about trading the cumulative delta and how I like fat deltas and I don't like skinny deltas. And it wrote that in like 5 seconds. It's pretty unbelievable. There's also a couple country ones in here. Now, if I'm playing that, is there like an echo or anything on my computer? Let me try one of these country ones. They're probably not as funny.
Oh, wow, look at that move. It's like one of those big Delta candles. I mean, who even trades those tiny candles anymore?
No echo? Even right now?
Big fat candles, I can't deny. When the Delta's green and riding high, when a chart spikes thick with a bullish wick, I'm glued to my screen, that's the trick. I want a pound split, can't let it go. Big Delta bars, let that volume show. I'm zooming out, yeah, that's my groove. Catching waves in a Delta move. Wanna trade slow? Nah, too
Yeah,
tame.
me too.
This market's got heat, I'm in the game. Delta skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries, stacking tall, no weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big Delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're bored. Give me fat deltas, I want more. Like those thick moves, yeah, yeah. I wanna break through, you know. Then hold, then play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right.
I like this one. Where's my cowboy hat?
I like big fat candles, can't deny when the volume surges up so high. Skinny trades can take a seat. Big fat deltas are what I beat. Let me see that life is cause of my happy delta. Skinny, not my taste. Fat candles on my happy place. Oh, traders, let me see that line. When the buyers push, I feel just fine. It's the fat move, no squeeze fake. I'm in this trend with no break. Got entries, stacking tall, no weak signals, I'm all in, y'all. Skinny candles just ain't for me. Big Delta's my golden key. Big Delta's my golden key. Sitting tight while volume pops. Green wave up won't make me stop. Short candles, nope, they're bored. Give me fat deltas, I want more. Like those big moves, yeah, yeah. I wanna break through, you know. And hold and play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right. Like those thick moves, yeah, yeah. I wanna break through, you know. Then hold, then play, don't you fold. Big deltas fill the chart with might. Skinny moves don't make it right.
Hey, that song's a hit. All right. What do you think of those? So you like the country one better, huh? More cowbell. Hopefully we didn't scare anybody away. Yeah, I wasn't sure how you guys would hear that. I mean, like, I didn't know if there'd be an echo coming through my speakers into the microphone or if that would get kind of weird, so. Oh, I suppose I could have just muted my microphone when I played it. Nice. All right, so felt like I was front row. So yeah, that delta is still thin, skinny, chopping. We did tick down from the red zone there, but it's not really a great setup, so I'm passing on it. I just posted that song in the Zeiierman group. That is pretty amazing how you can actually do that now with AI. It's nuts. So what's the market going to do today, you think? You think we're just going to start chopping again? Or are we going to break out of this chop and put in some good moves? Now, on a higher time frame, this actually looks like a big bear flag. You got your pull, you got your consolidation at your 45-degree angle upwards. So if we get a lower high on the signal and the delta's looking really weak, that might be a short I'm willing to take. This is what it looks like on the 5-minute. Yeah, that looks like a bear flag, doesn't it? Yeah, and if we get that tick down underneath the delta on the 5, that could send that lower. So try to get the timing right. Be nice if we can get the signal to pull back up into that upper power zone and get a tick down with a weak delta or a lower high up there. That would be ideal. I haven't checked in on crypto today. Let's see what's going on over there. I'm 100% out of crypto now, by the way. Waiting for my bots to buy me back in. See this tick down right here in the red zone? See how the delta is underneath the confirmation line, this tick down? That is where my bots got me out, which is right here at looks like 90,800. That was my Bitcoin trade anyway. So yeah, the way that I have my bots set up on crypto is I am if the delta falls under the confirmation line, I'm still buying. See this dotted line down here? I'm buying near the lower power zone. And then if I get a tick down anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's in the red zone or the green zone. If I get a tick down, it'll get me out. So it's basically buying, selling, buying, selling. But the nice thing about that is it only does that if the delta is underneath the confirmation line. So see how it's underneath over here. But ideally where you want to get in is in this area. When that confirmation line comes down near that lower power zone. And then once you buy near this lower power zone, so for example, right here, I had a really nice trade here. I don't know why it's not marked anymore, but anyway, so it got me in here. But as long as this delta is above the confirmation line, my bot keeps me in. So I rode this all the way until it was actually until here. See this lower high right here? You can't really tell, but the delta fell underneath the confirmation line right there. So it got me out like right here. So that was like 12.8%. And then it bought me back in. See how the signal came down to that lower power zone. It bought me back in, and then the delta got back above the confirmation line. So then I rode all this up to here. Then it got me back in, and now it's more, getting me in and out more quicker. But now if this really started to gain some momentum and steam to the downside, I would just turn my bots off. I'd stop buying, and I would wait until it gets in like this area. And then I turn them back on and starts buying and selling again. So for crypto, it's awesome because it does it in the middle of the night. It gets me in and out when I'm sleeping. All right, looks like we are possibly breaking down that bear flag that we were just talking about. I was talking too much and I missed this tick down here. So the delta was really weak right there. I prefer them closer to that upper power zone than, like this one's too close to the midline. The delta has to, you could still take those, but the delta has to look like this. It's really got to be moving down, have a lot of momentum downwards. But I was talking, so I missed this one. So, okay, so if we were to take that, we would have been in there. Finally did hit that pivot line now. That would have been another 36 points there. And counting. Anybody else grab that? Would have been over 50 points now. But yeah, that was the trade. That was this tick down here, the weak delta. That bear flag setup, that is detailed in the playbook. Yeah, that was a nice clean bear flag setup. Hopefully some of you guys got that. If you were taking that to the first tick up in the green zone, could have taken profit here. Still would have been 28.5 points. Could have taken profit on the pivot line. That would have been 36.25. And we'll see if this has any more gusto to the downside. The delta is still relatively thick, so the sellers are still in control here. On the 5-minute, we did get that tick down underneath the delta. And on the 5-minute, that's actually in right here, that's that impulsive breakout move that's detailed in the playbook. In the 5-minute, those all played out. I suspect this has more downside to it. However, I personally don't like to see, if you're looking for a downside impulsive move, you want this signal line to stay under the delta. You don't want it to go back above, like this one here. See how the signal stayed under the delta this whole time? And then when it ticked up, that basically signaled it's over. And then we consolidated. So even if this ticks down right here, it's not a great setup. So if you missed the bear flag move, I probably would not jump in there. It still could continue to the downside, but it's not looking great right now. It's looking better on the 5-minute. See, on the 5, you do have this impulsive move tick down there on the 5. So if you thought that one was going to play out more, then I suppose this tick down, even though it's in the green zone, that still might work out. But remember, all of this is a balancing act. You're balancing, what's happening on the 1 along with what's happening on the 5, what's happening on the 15, what's happening on the hourly. 15, I'm going to go ahead and flip that to bearish. That delta is getting fatter on the 15. So we are in full bear mode across the higher time frames. See, the price is going up, but the delta is staying relatively flat. Actually, it still has more of a downward slope to it. That still tells me that there's still probably more downside. at least at the moment. To go long, you really want to see the delta start to gain a positive slope, which it is not doing yet. So some people might mistake this for a delta squeeze setup. That's not a delta squeeze. Not yet, anyways. Looks like the bulls are trying to step in. The delta's starting to turn positive. If you were targeting 50 points on that one, you would have got it. All right, the delta is starting to turn up now. We do have a little bit of a positive slope forming. Delta is starting to cross that confirmation line to the upside. So looks like this actually is turning into a squeeze. The delta just didn't look very good at the time. Sometimes they don't always look perfect. So if you did think that was a squeeze and you did take that, you'd be up 35 points right now. Yeah, if this just started to turn up a little sooner and then we got that tick up, I would have taken it. We are ticking down from the red zone. So there still might be a decent short coming up. The delta is tapering down now. I do have a bit of a engulfing candle forming there. The delta is still climbing, gaining some strength. So how are you guys doing today? Did you guys take any trades? Nice. So you're long ES. How's the ES looking today? Oh. Okay. Yeah, you got more of a nicer looking delta squeeze setup on ES right here. Is that what you took right here? On that green triangle? Oh, you were way down there, huh? It's a nice trade. You're back at VWAP now. Not quite at VWAP on NQ yet. Signal is back up in the upper power zone. But if we start getting above these highs over here and get above the VWAP, this thing could start moving. We are ticking down from the upper power zone. Delta was starting to taper. It's kind of teetering right there. Now, this confirmation line, see how we've basically come down here and now it's starting to kind of roll back up. That's a horrible drawing. But starting to kind of roll back up like this. Typically in this area, you only want to look for longs if that long's going to play out. If we're still more in a ranging scenario, you can still go after the short there. Because this could just get denied and we could fly all the way back down near that pivot. I'd feel better taking the short if it actually touched VWAP. Another thing to watch for here is for a bull flag to form and then take advantage of the bull flag breakout setup. So it might consolidate under this VWAP and then try to make a run and gun over the VWAP. What I don't like about that is that the signal's in the upper power zone, and the delta is relatively weak right here. I prefer these setups where the signal would pull back somewhere in here, closer to the delta, and then tick up. It's not in the power zone. So, I mean, it still might work out, but, and then you got the VWAP right there as resistance. So this could just be a fake out, bull flag breakout fake out. But you know, sometimes when you're looking at all of these other indicators and things, it's kind of a distraction. If you're just focused on, you know, if you get rid of the VWAP, get rid of everything, and just focus on that bull flag breakout setup, I mean, technically that satisfies it. Sometimes it's a lot easier if you just make things simple and just focus on the cumulative delta and nothing else. We'll see if this ends up being a fake out here. So far it's a winner if you took it. But now we're starting to get that lower high. So there's bearish divergence forming too. We did take out that other liquidity over there. Delta is tapering. Yeah, it's hard to take longs up there in that power zone. I mean, this is exactly where you should be looking for shorts. However, keep in mind the delta crossed the center line into the upper half, and it's not a great scenario for a short either. It's kind of the probability of a long or short here, it's probably like straight down the middle. And when it's like that, probably better off just sitting on your hands. But that lower high at VWAP is kind of enticing. Still kind of want to, I don't know. I'll pass on this one. So it would be more, so looking at the delta, if this thing would have come up like this, and then like it was sitting like down here, and then we got that lower high, I'd feel better. But the fact that it powered through in the upper half and it's sitting up there, that tells me that we should just be waiting for the long setup. And, you know, confirmation lines turning up. So the longs are where it's at right now. Try not to fight the current. The current in the river right now is to the upside. However, if the delta starts rolling over and starts to turn negative, and we start putting in a series of lower highs on the signal, then I'll be more interested in the short. Whoa. I just noticed that my my wins and losses and break evens at the top of the screen, all of that is totally wrong. I don't know why that's not loading correctly. Here, let me save. There. Now it's correct. Weird. This whole time it should have said 2 wins, 0 losses, 0 break evens, and a total points profit of 70.25. So I'm up 70 points today. This whole time that's been wrong sitting up there. Not really sure why. Well, that kind of sucks. People probably thought I was on a big losing streak today. Probably should have checked that when I started the stream. It's a little embarrassing. Delta's still pushing up there. We are above VWAP, and it seems to be holding up there, so see if it wants to make a bigger move here. Now we're putting in our second lower high, potentially. Delta is getting weaker. So there might be a short here, but if you're trying to play it safe, I would wait for a long. You know, you got the delta above the confirmation line. The confirmation line is clearly turning up now. So the long side is where things are at. If you do jump in a short, if it starts to roll over, I would probably keep a short leash on it, scalp it. Yeah, that delta's not rolling over yet. It's still moving up. It's actually gaining some strength right now. This current candle is thicker than the previous one. Looks like it's trying to form somewhat of a bull flag breakout here on that VWAP. Delta's gaining more strength. And will it be rejected here? Let's see. We're putting in our third lower high in the power zone. This might force that delta to start to roll over. On the higher time frames, if you look at the 5, keep in mind the delta is still underneath that confirmation line, so we're bearish over there. So if we tick down in this red zone on the 5, that could trigger a bigger move. Delta's starting to turn negative now. I just got picked up on the 8 for a short. Keep in mind this is our third lower high in the power zone, and 2 is better than 1 and 3 is better than 2. So hopefully we do get a decent downside move. Now this is the first time that we've tested the 21 or the 20 moving average. We could potentially find some support right here. Just something to keep in mind. We are getting that tick down on the 5. It's not official yet, but it is forming. It will be official in 4 minutes if it closes that way. So see, we were patient and waited for those buyers to get exhausted. And then we saw exhaustion. So we knew at this point that the sellers were overpowering the buyers from the power zone. That entry on the 8 was beautiful. On the end of that wick. So yeah, even though I was saying the 1 is bullish because the delta's over the confirmation line. Confirmation line is headed up. So I have to keep in mind the higher time frames are bearish. So, and if we trigger this tick down from the red zone on the 5, could potentially lead to a bigger move on the 1. So we'll see. But the 1 always takes priority. So, you know, if you see a bullish setup on the 1, definitely want to get out of your short. The delta on the 5 is starting to become exhausted, starting to turn negative. On the 15, delta's gaining some strength for the sellers. Hasn't ticked down yet, but it looks like it's probably going to. Went ahead and moved my stop to break even. We are getting a tick up from that lower power zone. Keep in mind, we're still bullish on the 1 minute, so this is decision time here. We're also tapering on the delta on the 1. I went ahead and exited on that tick up from the bottom. So it looks like that was 24 points. I also have a limit order in there for a long. So I'm trying to go long here from that lower power zone, but still have to keep in mind that the higher time frame on the 5, we've triggered it bearish. So this is another one that you kind of want to keep a short leash on if you go long here. I just got tagged in. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see this delta gain more strength and tick down against me. If it ticks down and I'm underwater, I'm pulling the plug. All right, and I'm out. At a short, tiny loss. Looks like 2.75 points on that one. That's the way I like to keep them. I like to keep the losses small. Some people would probably call that a break even, but I'm calling it a loss. Like I said, we've triggered the 5. So the 5 is currently a short. So we're looking for a short setup if we can get one. Doesn't mean that we can't go long before we go short here on the 1 though. We could still run into a long setup here. So if we trigger a higher low near this lower power zone and the delta's tapering, I'm going to jump back and along. Excuse me. All right, we're starting to trigger that higher low. Delta's starting to turn positive. It's tapering down to that fine pencil point there. See, it's flashing white. Gonna wait for the close. All right, I am long again. Looks like our ATR value is at a 47 now, which is, it's good. I like it around 50. 4 times ATR. An 80 tick stop is I use an 80 tick stop more so for like a catastrophic stop. But do you see how in this case it ended up being like 80 almost exactly, but usually like say on this other trade it was like down here and I move it to the swing low, which is usually less than 80. If the swing low is more than 80, that tells me that my stop needs to be bigger. And which means I need to lower my position size. But anytime it's less than 80, I'm usually happy with that. All right, and we got to keep in mind that we're still triggered short on the 5, so this could just be a bear flag forming to the downside, so we want to keep that in mind. Again, if this signal line ticks down and I'm underwater, I'm pulling the plug. Usually my stop doesn't get hit in most situations. Now, if it really started to fly, or like, you know, yesterday it got hit, I think 4 times in a row. But yesterday my stop was just, number one, it was too small for the market moves that we were getting. And number two, there was just a ton of sideways chop yesterday. Okay, the delta. Do you see how it's starting to kind of turn right here? That's what we want to see. We want to see that delta turn back up, start to gain some momentum to the upside. Hopefully squeeze out all of those shorts. Still bear flag potential here, though. So again, if it ticks down against me, I'm going to pull the plug. And I'm out there. So another 3 points. Now, if you had conviction in that 5-minute short right there, then you might want to go short here off of this, what looks to be like a bear flag forming here. That is the bear flag setup. That delta's got a positive slope though, so it's not ideal. You still want the delta to be rolling down if you're going to take that setup. It's another tiny loss that some people might call that a break even. Another thing to take note of is the delta is getting thin and spotty. That's our chop signal. So if you wanted to play it safe, you would probably walk away right now. We are putting in a higher low in that green zone. That delta still has more of a positive slope than a negative slope, so we're also ticking up on top of the delta on the 5. in 2 minutes. If it closes that way, that'll be official. That's getting closer to a long setup on the 5. But I still think we're probably going to see this bear flag play out here. Potentially. Keep in mind when that delta is thin and chopping, it can go either way. So you want to look at all the signals that we have on the table and weigh them out. So the hourly, still bearish. 15, still bearish. The 5 minute, technically still bearish. We did tick up above that delta, but again, even on the 5, we got some chop forming right there, which says that could really go either direction. So if you get a short signal on the 1, then you still probably want to take that. We don't have a clean short signal yet. We are just chopping. Go ahead and put our bear flag trend line in here. See if we get a signal to break that to the downside. Good morning. If you're just joining us, we're going to get that tick down here. Delta is really thin and flat, like no slope to it. Tick down under the delta with a bearish negative delta. We're starting to get that tick down here. Is this going to be it? We got it. I'm going to take it. It's in the green zone, which I don't like, but things are pretty bearish right now, so we'll see if this one can push through. All right, now we just need some sellers to step in. Good. Glad you guys are liking it. If I was sitting here by myself, I'd just be talking to myself, so. Hopefully these are still helpful and not getting monotonous for you. Hearing the same things over and over again. We did get a slight little tick up there, a little higher low. I didn't act on it though because We're still under that 8, and I still feel like this thing wants to roll down. Delta's still negative, although it was starting to get a little bit of a positive slope there, which was kind of weird. So hopefully this thing starts to roll over now. Let's have this bear flag break down. Delta's starting to gain some strength. Again, that's weird. It's starting to get a positive slope, but it's gaining negative strength. Sometimes you see that. Hopefully that's not a sign that this is going to be a fake out to the downside. A lot of times the slope of the delta is leading. And JWAS, you've heard me say that a bunch of times. So even if it's negative, if it has that positive slope, that usually says, no, we're actually going to go the other way. So now if we end up ticking up here, I'm going to pull the plug. But hopefully we see this thing follow through. All right, yeah, this might be a fake out to the downside. Maybe. Still hasn't officially ticked up against me. Looks like it's working it now. It has. Okay, I'm out. That chop is real. Okay. Looks like I lost 7 1/4 on that one. Now, you know, ideally, if you make your money at the beginning of the day, and then you start seeing this sideways chop action, you're probably better off just saying, you know what, I made my money, walk away. Yeah, I could put in some better moves later on in the day, but be happy with what you got, with what the market gave you. I'm up pretty good today, so I don't mind so much right now. But do you see how that was leading? That's something that's really important to point out here. I've said this a lot in the past, but even though everything was setting up for a short there, and even though this delta was negative, here, I'm going to change my view so you can see that better. Even though the delta was negative, it was creating a positive slope. You see that? It's usually leading, and that tells you that, no, this is going to be a fake out. And what I should have done there is I should have probably flipped. Instead of just exit my position, I should have flipped long. But I see that a lot. I see that all the time. I can't remember if I talked about that in the playbook or not. Another thing to point out there is that we ended up getting two official higher lows. Now this one, this is, I mean, in all reality, this is a higher low too. It didn't flash a green triangle because it did it up here. So this was the higher low that it put in. But that one, you can almost just ignore that because it was just barely a signal there. But yeah, I put in 3 higher lows in the green zone. That's all very bullish. But the delta, it's really thin. So any trades you take when the delta's thin, you're getting more into, it's likely to be a gamble. Raised the same observation in group chat before. Yep. Yeah. Yep, you always want to watch for that. And it makes you wonder how Zeiierman actually is calculating that, because how can you have a negative delta but then have the slope increase? I don't know how he's plotting that to the screen. It doesn't make sense in my head, but I like it because it's, it's a leading indicator if you look at it that way. Well, we made it back to VWAP and touched it. Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it just needs the retest and then we're going to roll over. However, on the 1 minute right now, it's still really bullish. Keep in mind that the delta's been above that confirmation line this whole time. And the delta right now does have a nice upward slope to it. That short signal that we got earlier on the 5, that's been negated now since we ticked up above the delta. So it could still turn into a short, but it has to tick down up there in the red zone. So it just looks like it just wasn't quite ready yet. God, I was stuck on that view of the cumulative delta. So I just switched it back to the main view. So even though we have this positive slope on the delta, signal is near that upper power zone, so still not a place where you want to go long. We're still bearish on the higher time frame, so we're definitely favoring shorts from a bird's eye view, but from the 1 minute view, it's currently bullish. That could change after touching that delta, or I'm sorry, the VWAP though. We might just needed to go back and retest that. We are ticking down from the power zone. It touched it. So will it roll over here? Delta's gaining a little bit of strength to the upside. The signal has not officially ticked down from the power zone yet. Looks like it's trying to. Got about 30 seconds. The delta is tapering down. We are ticking down from that power zone. But the delta is still above the confirmation line. It still has that positive slope, so it's kind of a risky trade, but I'm going to go ahead and try it anyways. So I'm short from that tick down. Keep in mind we've been chopping too, so we could just continue to go sideways here. I want to see this trend line break down though. Looks like it might get stopped out on this one. That delta's still gaining strength. But like I said, this one is, I knew this one was riskier. Because you want to see that delta roll over and turn negative first. So far I'm still good though. Came close to hitting my stop, but it didn't get me. Come on. Let's roll down here. If it doesn't hit my stop and it ticks up above this delta, I'm going to exit early. Really want to see it break that trend line though. We are back under the 8 SMA, which is good. Hopefully we stay under the 8. I'm going to go get a refill. I'll be right back. Here. Looks like the delta is trying to roll over. Although I do see it flashing white, which means potential chop. I'm going to mark it out just so that we're aware of it. Really want that to stay under the 8. But again, if this signal ticks up and I'm underwater or near break even, I'm just going to pull it. Got about 40 seconds for this candle close. Yeah, it looks like it's not gonna, it doesn't want to break down for me. It's gonna turn into chop. Ten seconds. And I'm out. Six points on that one. Yeah, I would have been better off had I just walked away after this other chop set in. It's all right, though. Still a good day. So what is this going to do here? It's almost like we're forming somewhat of a channel. We are back above VWAP. Delta on the 5 is trying to get above the confirmation line. So if that gets above, we're going to start turning bullish on the 5. But technically still bearish on the higher time frames. Getting another tick down from that upper power zone on the 1. But I don't think we're not in a ranging market condition, so this delta, it's keep wanting to climb up here, so you're better off waiting for a long on the 1 until this signal is starting to roll over. Then I'll be interested in a short at that point, but not at the moment. That delta is still gaining strength. Current candle is bigger than the last one. See what this looks like on the 5-minute. Five-minute looks kind of nasty. The delta is trying to get back above that confirmation line, but yeah, this could turn bullish again here. We just made it above that order block there. We took out this high. Delta still ramping up. It's pulling back in. It might have just been a liquidity grab there. Or will we retest the VWAP and then tick up above the delta here for a bigger upside move, potentially? Delta's still gaining more strength. This delta candle is bigger than this one. If we tick up here, this could be an impulsive breakout setup that's detailed in the playbook. However, it's so close to that upper power zone. I hate going long up there. Yep, that's looking like it's probably a failed breakout there. We never did get the tick up. See that? So this setup never officially set up. We also want to anticipate a move on a higher time frame. So if you look at the 5, the signal is up near the upper power zone, and if we get that tick down on the 5 there, that is a short on the 5, so it could be a bigger move on the 1. Delta is starting to roll over on the 1. It's turning negative. I went ahead and put a limit order in on the 8. The idea here is that if we can get the short trigger on the 1 to trigger the tick down on the 5 from here, that's what we're trying to trigger. Trying to anticipate that move on the higher time frame, trigger the tick down, and ride down the bigger move on the 5. I almost got picked up. My order is like right here. I didn't officially get picked up yet. There we go. I'm in. Excuse me. However, we got to keep in mind that we are ticking up from the green zone on the 1, and if this delta is tapering, I'm going to have to pull the plug on it. We'll see where we close here. I'm out. So, small loss. The 1 just didn't want to cooperate. This is actually a bullish setup on the 1. Delta's above the confirmation line. But we do need to mark this off as chop because it's alternating positive, negative, positive. That is not an ideal condition to be trading in. Keep in mind, anytime it's chopping, you're better off just walking away. These moves are a little bit riskier. You want to see that consistency in these delta moves, like here, you know, back here. All of these moves were great. When the delta is thin and alternating like that, that means everybody went to lunch. We are still in the process of potentially triggering this 5 for the short. So I'm still, doesn't mean that shorts are off the table. Just at the time being, I take the small loss until the short sets up again. So now what I want to see is I want to see the signal pull up in the red zone somewhere and tick down underneath this delta, and then have the delta continuing to roll down. Sometimes it's just, you know, timing is everything. You can still be right about the move, but getting the timing right is sometimes the difficult part. We are getting that tick down. It's in the green zone. It is gaining some momentum here on the delta. So it didn't officially tick down yet. This next candle could be it. Like I said, I want to see that more in the red zone. I don't want to see that in the green zone. You can take them from the green zone. They're just a little bit riskier if you do. Went ahead and took a short on the 8 there. I'm in at 111.75. So I'm feeling a little more risky today. So we'll see if because I still see this 5-minute playing out here. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. We did get our tick down. It just wasn't ideal. It wasn't in the red zone. And, you know, the fact that we had that failed breakout from the top, we're starting to break this other trend line we had going on here before. The delta is gaining some strength to the downside. Those delta candles are getting fatter. That's what we want to see. We want to see more consistency set into those candles. Hopefully all of the thin, spotty delta stuff is over. Let's see it put in a decent move. That delta looks like it wants to cross back under the confirmation line. That's a good sign. We want to see some follow through here with this move. Hopefully come back down and take out this low. If we can get that low, that'll be another 71 points. Can we get there? The signal is already in the lower power zone. We need to see some follow through. We need to take out this low right here. Take out this low. Take this out. Take this out. We want to see that cascade effect. But we are ticking up from that lower power zone, so I might have to pull the plug here. Still not getting the follow through that we need. Instead of pulling the plug, I'm just going to go ahead and move my stop to break even. But if you're just looking for a quick scalp, that was it. That's your exit right there, that tick up from that lower power zone. If you took it, you would have got, it's like 11.5 points. I think there's more downside to this move here. So I'm holding on. At least come down to this pivot. We want to see that those candles stay underneath the 8 SMA. We don't want it to close above. My bots are going crazy right now. In crypto, something's going on in crypto. Looks like, oh, we're ticking up near the power zone down there. So I think it's probably buying into a lot of stuff. All right, we're getting more of an impulsive move down. I want to see more though. That delta is looking pretty nice. We have a very nice downward slope, and it's increasing in strength, so the sellers are definitely stepping in. They're overpowering the buyers, so we're going to hold on. That's the beauty with the cumulative delta. It's like you can see what's going on behind the scenes, the order flow. If you're just looking at price action, you can't really see any of that. Delta candle's getting stronger to the downside. Getting a higher low in the lower power zone. Which isn't great. We still want to see more momentum on this move. I'm still going to hold strong. I'm going to start trailing. This low here. So we did run some liquidity there. The delta is really starting to taper now. It's not looking as good anymore. We're getting that higher low, which is actually some bullish divergence. With that tapering delta. I think I'm going to go ahead and exit on this one here. So we didn't get the momentum move we were looking for, but we still got, it's like 10.25 points on that. Now, this still could play out to the downside. We're just trying to be a little bit more conservative. It is lunchtime in New York. But I feel like our chopping area, our chopping scenario is kind of over and done with, maybe. At least for now. Hopefully it starts putting in some decent moves. You know, the last few times that we streamed, it chopped earlier in the morning, and then as soon as it was lunchtime, that's when things started getting good. So as soon as I ended the stream, then the swing started coming back. And trading was much better. Usually it's the opposite. The 5-minute is still playing out, by the way. So we still have that tick down from the upper red zone, and it's following through here. So we should still be looking for shorts. But when you have a big engulfing candle to the upside and you're ticking up with the higher low from the lower power zone, like, you can't stay in those, especially with the tapering delta. If the delta was, if it was still gaining strength there, I would have stayed in, but when it's losing strength, then it's not worth it. Just take your profits. See, the delta's actually turning positive now. And again, here's that situation where you have the negative slope on the delta, but it's turning positive. So usually that's a leading indicator. So if this continues, if this slope continues, talked about this earlier, if that continues to the downside, even if the delta turns positive and it continues going down, 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 it's usually a sign that it's going to roll over and start heading down again. So we'll keep a close eye on it. But at the moment, the bulls are stepping back in, so we'll let them do what they need to do and see where we end up. We could just be going back in a ranging market condition as well, and if that's the case, that confirmation line is going to end up settling more towards the middle of the indicator. And then what we'll be looking for are tick ups from the lower power zone to go long, and tick downs from the upper power zone to go short. Yeah, if you go back and look at all my losers today, it was all, you know, like these three right here was all during this chop box. This one was in chop. This one was during this chop. It's better to walk away when you start seeing those. Another interesting scenario, because that the delta is positive, but you see what I mean? How it's still has that negative slope to it. Delta's under the confirmation line. Starting to get a tick down from the red zone. That is it's a short setup. It's kind of a low quality short setup, but it's a short setup. And it falls back in line with what's happening on the 5-minute. On the 5-minute, we're still in that, you know, the signal's still moving down on the 5 for that short. So if you wanted to jump on the 5-minute train, this is probably a good spot. But you do have that positive delta that you're fighting with. So on the 1, you need the sellers to step it up. I went ahead and took a short on the 8 right there. We just need the sellers to step in and give this some more momentum to the downside. Got a little bit of a bear flaggy looking thing here. Yeah, that downward delta slope. See how that's like a leading indicator? I always want to look for that. Maybe now we'll get the move we were looking for before. Go ahead and move my stop to break even. Delta is definitely gaining its strength back. Sellers are stepping in. All right, let's see a big impulsive move here. I love those entries on the 8. Aren't they beautiful? Right there at the end of the wick. Just like this one over here. I think I put that in the playbook, didn't I? Where I talk about the 8 SMA and how to time your entries with that. That 8 SMA is kind of my secret sauce. But you got to wait for the... You can't just enter anywhere on the 8. You got to wait for the signal on the cumulative delta first. After you get the signal there, then you enter on the 8. And many times it's just like that. It's right on the end of a wick. We did start to tick back up from that lower power zone, and the delta's tapering a little bit, but I mean, the delta's made it down this far. I'm just going to end up holding here. And if you look at the 5, how the delta's rolling over there, on the 15, still heading down. On the hourly, it's still heading down. So I think there could be a bigger move here that I'd like to hold out for. I mean, I could exit here on this tick up and bag profits there, but I'm looking for the bigger move. So my exit at this point is going to be probably a delta squeeze. So a buy signal back to the upside. So as long as it doesn't hit my stop, I'm going to wait for that. So what we want to see is we want to see the signal stay under those delta candles. We want to see it gain strength to the downside and have that signal stay underneath. We don't really want it to get on top. If it gets on top, I'll still probably hold through it and wait for a delta squeeze back to the upside. But ideally, we want it to stay underneath. And if you wanted to play it safe, you could use the delta cross exit strategy that's in the playbook. So if the signal closes back above the delta, just go ahead and exit. It's probably the more conservative approach. But if you're trying to capture the bigger move, then you probably want to wait. It's always a trade-off, right? You know, you could bag certain profits now or try to capture the bigger move and risk not making anything and stopping out at break even if it turns around on you. That delta still, or I'm sorry, the signal line still staying under that delta. So far we're good. Delta still appears to be gaining strength to the downside. There we go. Now it's putting in a bigger candle. Anybody else catch this move? Nice. Were you going after your 10 points? Okay, we haven't officially closed above the delta yet. Looks like it's working on it. So if you're looking for more of a conservative exit in your in, when it closes above, that's your exit. Another thing you can do for more of a conservative exit strategy is to just exit when it closes back above the 8. I do that quite a bit. Lots of choices. Okay, it did close above the delta there, so that's your first TP point. But for me, as long as that delta is still relatively thick and negative, I'm staying in. We want to see fat deltas come back into the picture. Fat negative deltas. Then we can play our song again. Hey, if you guys don't mind, if you haven't liked the stream, could you please give it a like? I think that helps the algorithm. I don't know. I'm new to this whole streaming thing, so I think what actually helps better than likes are comments. I have another YouTube channel where I have like 40-some thousand subscribers. Never really set out to get that many. It just kind of happened naturally. But what I noticed on that channel is anytime somebody comments on a video, then YouTube starts showing that video. Even if it's like a negative comment or somebody hates something, as long as there's like a conversation happening on the video, I think YouTube likes that. So, if you could, like it and say something. Just say hello or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll show it to people. Awesome. Thanks, Jay Waz. We just touched that pivot line. Is that going to be the bottom here? We will see. I'm still going to wait for my delta squeeze back to the upside. Hopefully we just blow right past that pivot, take out that low, and really start to gain some downward momentum. Ian, thanks for doing this, T. I've been learning your strategy and didn't know you were doing the live chat. Oh, yeah. Well, I just started doing this. It started out last Friday kind of as an experiment just to see if anybody wanted to kind of follow along here. And so far we got a few viewers. Figured it'd be more fun trading as a group and trying to help each other out instead of just trying to do it alone. Looks like it's trying to bounce on that pivot line there. Those pivot lines are really accurate a lot of the time. So that's another TP point if you're looking for a place to take profit. Right there on that line. I am still holding out here. Now, the signal looks like it's trying to close or cross back above the delta again a second time. If it does, that would be another take profit point if you're looking to take profits. Nice, Ian. Yeah, if you guys have any comments or recommendations or things that you felt are maybe confusing in the playbook that I should clarify or anything I should add, let me know. Delta's still looking pretty heavy. We need to break through that pivot line there to catch more momentum. If we can't break through it, then let's see what we're at now. Right about 44 points as we speak. There we go. We're starting to break through. All right, we just took out the low. That's another take profit point if you guys wanted to ensure a really good trade. Just take profit on that other swing low there. Personally, I like to wait because usually it goes beyond the low. And I like to exit when I see the buyer starting to step back in. To me, that just logically makes a lot more sense. Anytime I take profit on a take profit point like that without knowing when the buyers are stepping back in, I usually regret it because there's usually a lot more, or there's a lot that I'm leaving on the table. You can see the delta here, how it's getting really thick. So the sellers are really kind of stepping up there. So you don't want to take profits. Well, if you want to ensure, profits in the bag, then sure, go ahead, take profits. It's always a good idea to take profits. But when you see the sellers really stepping in right there, I mean, personally, that's not the time to do it for me. I want to wait for this delta to start to thin out so you know that the sellers are stepping away. I want to see this delta start to gain more of a positive slope on it. I want to see the signal make it back above the delta, come down, and then tick up above the delta. That is usually, from a timing perspective, that's like usually the perfect point to completely exit your trade. So sure, take profits on the way down at all of these take profit points, but you want to fully exit when you see that happens for sure. And flip long at that point. So far this move went about 77 points. So what's with lunch being so good for trading lately? The morning sucks and lunch is good. Something seems wrong with that. Just to kind of recap a little bit what we did here and what we were anticipating. If you look back earlier in the stream and I talk about this signal getting up in this upper power zone on the 5, and we anticipated this tick down here, and we knew that if we tick down and this delta starts to roll over, there could be a larger momentum move to the downside there. So that's what we were looking for. But we were trying to time our entry with the 1 minute. So, okay, so the signal's back above the delta. You could take profits there again. We are starting to get our positive slope on the delta now. See how it's starting to turn up a little bit? The fat candles are getting smaller and smaller, and it's starting to turn up here. So we are probably getting close here to taking our full exit. Now, what I don't like, okay, the nice thing about taking full profits when it closes above that delta is that even if it's a V-bottom scenario, you get a really good exit point there. I don't like V-bottoms because I like it to kind of pull back down and then tick up, and that's what it does most of the time. In a V-bottom situation, if you don't get that delta squeeze, it could come all the way back up and hit your break even, and then that's no good. So, and that's what it's looking like it's starting to do now. We're starting to get a more of a V bottom here. So if you took profits on that Delta cross down there in the power zone, good on you. That would have been down here. We did close above the 8 now too. So if that was your exit, you'd be getting out right now. We're back above that pivot line. But I've had a pretty good day, so I'm going to still wait this one out. And hopefully it doesn't go straight up in the air in V-bottom. Hopefully it pulls back a little bit, and then I'll take profits then. Please don't V-bottom. See, I went 77 points, and now we're sitting at like 40. So far we lost half of our profits just waiting for this. Don't even tell me this is going to V-bottom now. Come on. At least pull back to the 8. Since this was kind of a strong reaction off the bottom there, I'm gonna I'm setting my take profit on the 8. So hopefully we can at least get that pullback to the 8. And that should be fairly close to where that Delta cross was. That Delta is really ramping up now. I see that. The buyers definitely stepped in. Man, this sucker is V-bottoming. This is not what I wanted to see. See, this is pretty rare when this happens, but of course, now that I'm on the stream, that's going to happen. Signal's in that, getting to be in that upper power zone now, so hopefully we get a tick down up there and at least get that little bit of a pullback. Back up to the 50. You guys have heard me say this before, but Delta crosses in a power zone are usually... I used to have a rule where I would enter on those. So here, I would have actually entered long right there, and that would have played out. That is not in the playbook, though. Delta's crossing back above that confirmation line, signaling that we're turning bullish on the 1. However, notice that this cross is happening closer to like the middle of the indicator as opposed to down by a power zone, which indicates more potential like a ranging market condition. When it's doing that, you want to buy and sell the power zones. Still waiting for my pullback. Might not get it, but we'll see. I am going to start trailing now, though. We are getting our tick down from the upper power zone. The delta is tapering down, so that's a good sign. We're back under the 8 SMA, which is also a good sign. That move was so strong back to the upside, though. I think any downward move here is probably going to be short-lived. Delta's gaining more strength to the upside. That delta candle's getting thicker. Not something I really want to see right now. My stop is above this high, just so you know. So that would really be sad if it went 77 points down and I only end up getting 14. Hey, but a winner's a winner, right? And you know, that's always the trade-off by waiting for the bigger moves. I talked about that earlier. That is the risk, is that you might stop out at break even or close to it. If you want a sure thing, definitely take profits on the way down. So I want to see it put in a lower high in that power zone. I want to see the delta taper. We're starting to get it there. Want it to close back underneath that 8 SMA and have that start to roll back over. All All right, we got our lower high in the power zone. We're back under the 8. We also have a potential bull flag setting up here. We are losing strength on the delta, which is a good sign. Starting to see exhaustion in the delta. There we go. Now let's have it fly back down there and tag me out. Keep in mind, 5 is still bearish, 15 still bearish, hourly still bearish. So we still could be putting in a bigger move to the downside. This could have just been to flush out all the shorts. So that we can go short again. Starting to find a little bit of support on that pivot line. There we go. Come on down, baby. There we go. There we go. Got it. I got my 77 points. Made me sweat a little bit, but still got it. Our fat deltas are starting to come back in. What was that? 77.5. Means I am up 163 for the day. Points, that is. So those higher time frames, those playing out definitely helped us there. Looks like XRP is going on a little bit of a run. 77 cents now. Well, guys, I think I'm going to go get some lunch. I'll probably end the stream here. End on a good note. Probably take a few more trades later this afternoon. And I got some other things I got to attend to. So, hope you guys have a good day and good luck. What's today? Thursday? So yeah, I'll probably stream tomorrow as well, same time. So we will see you guys tomorrow. All right. You're welcome. Talk to you guys later.